Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Chaos Child, continuing Arimura's path, sort of her story. We're trying to get the bad ending, so we're doing all the negative delusions. But anyway, might be winding down toward the end, or at least little more than halfway through, I would think. Because I think it takes about 4 hours maybe to do a route, but again, we ramble, so we probably got at least another hour and a half, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We're getting closer to the end anyway. But October 26th, 2015, Monday. I have a feeling that something's going to go down at the Culture Festival. That's going to be the big, whatever. So, just like she'd promised Takuru, Hanai Arimura stuck to the busy roads on her way back. She remembered Takuru's face when they'd said goodbye. Aw, we look so cute. Look at us. He was probably scared himself, but he was holding it in and pretending to be brave. Anybody could see he was just putting on an act. He was easy to figure out. And that made Hanai feel at peace. Everyone was hiding their true feelings, their truth, deep within their heart. There was nothing true in this world at all. That's what she'd thought that day. Never tell a lie. Her brother had been the one who had taught her that, but he still didn't tell her what was really important. He didn't tell her the truth. So where was the truth? That was the question she'd been grappling with for the last 6 years. Brother, a friend she'd made just recently had asked if she'd wanted to see her brother. And I almost never talked about him herself, but she'd been talking about her family. And then her friend had asked her. She didn't know why, but the question had surprised her and she'd nodded yes. She didn't hate her brother for lying to her, and even if she did, he was gone. Because on that day, she'd left him to die. So instead, she felt guilty toward him. If she could meet him, she wanted to apologize. A friend she'd met asked, I wonder if that's Kurdusu. Because we don't know what Kurdusu's power is. Or maybe Kazuki has powers and we just don't know about it. Like, nobody knows and she's just like, keep my mouth shut. We don't know. You know what I mean? Because we do end up with a path with her, so maybe, or whatever. But, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause she just said someone she met, does you want to see your brother? I mean, that could just be an innocuous question, like, oh, yeah, would you like to see him again? Like, casual, weird conversation. It's an odd thing to ask someone. Hey, so that person in your life that's dead, would you want to see them again? The answer is always going to be yes. No one's going to be like, nah, I'm good. Spend enough time with my dad. No, like, of course you're like, yes, of course. But if it was a gigalomaniac asking that, like, do you want to see them again? Like, maybe they could, like, give you a, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I'm wondering, like, I wonder if it was, it might not, again, it might just be, like, a way to get her to kind of make that statement. You know what I mean? It could just be like, okay, they threw that in there in passing so that she could say that, yes, she would love to see her brother and, blah, 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 she feels guilty, right? But if it was a gigalomaniac, then I wonder if it was Kurusu asking her that, because maybe that's her power, because I don't think we ever learned what it was. If we did, I don't remember. The crosswalk sign turned red and Hanai stopped walking. Even at night, Shibuya was crawling with people. It's crawling with people, and someone's about to shove you into the fucking crosswalk, and it's going to be Sarika. With this many people around, she thought, it wouldn't be easy for someone to attack her. As soon as the traffic light turned green, the car started to move. And then... I told you. Someone pushed her hard, and she staggered out onto the street. The headlights were bearing down on her before she even had time to think. They're trying to kill her. When she finally opened her eyes, the car bumper was just a few centimeters from her face. Hey, are you okay? What are you doing? That's dangerous. The people waiting for the light started to make a fuss. The sound of a dozen car horns echoed off the sides of the buildings, but Hanai didn't hear any of that. She was only looking at one thing. It was the place she'd been standing a moment ago. Just before she'd almost been hit, she looked up and seen them. Oh, some kid being Oh, brother? It was her dead brother, Shingo. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I feel like it's somebody making her see that. You know what I mean? But because I still think it's frickin' Serica trying to kill her. But who has shape-shifting ability? I mean, our father, you know, can make people has mind control powers, but like why would Serica be like mind control make her see her brother when I shove her into the road or some shit? You know what I mean? It's possible. I don't know. I'm curious about it. Or her brother, you know what I mean? But I still am wondering. I still think Serica's trying to kill her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get her out of the way. Maybe that's just what I want to believe. Anyway. I looked at the clock and it was past 3 a.m. I started looking around to see if there was any new information on the case, and the next thing I knew, it was really late. But I didn't end up finding anything new, and as I read, I ended up focusing on something else. It was an article about how a company called Koshin that was involved with the Restoration Festival had put up security cameras all over town and been subject to a lawsuit. The situation had gotten pretty complicated, and by the time I'd finished reading, it was really late. Sorry, my neck hurts. Time for bed, I guess. It wasn't true that caffeine stopped you from getting sleepy. I always drank caffeine before bed, and I was always able to sleep. But when I opened my fridge to get my late-night Mountain View, I realized I had a big problem. It's empty. I'd forgotten that I drank my last bottle yesterday. Fine, I guess I'll just have to go. I'll have to do without. Or so I thought, but once you found out that you couldn't drink something you wanted to drink, it became an obsession. That's just human nature. Caffeine was addictive. Maybe I was undergoing withdrawal. But the convenience store I'd have to go to in order to get a Mountain View is a bit of a walk from here. Damn it. In the end, however, I couldn't defeat my own desires. I went out into the city late at night to get my Mountain View. Pick up a few others while you're there. Thank you very much. After I succeeded in purchasing several bottles of Mountain View, I took one and opened it as I stood outside on the sidewalk. My body felt like it had been purified. Just as I thought that now I'd be able to sleep, I suddenly remembered all the murders that had happened so far. I suddenly felt afraid of the situation I was in. I was in Shibuya in the middle of the night, in a place that was almost empty at this hour. Sudden fear gripped me and I started to run, only to trip on something. Evidently, I'd run into a trash can. Ow! What's that doing here? There usually wasn't a trash can here. I felt a dull pain where my body had hit the ground. I hadn't been holding the bottle tightly, so the cap on my Mountain View had fallen off and the bottle was leaking. Damn it! I sat up and stretched out my hand to grab the bottle, only to touch something else. What is this? It wasn't a plastic bottle. It was softer, like clay. I slowly looked up. Eee! What I saw made me gasp. It wasn't a trash can. It was a laundry basket with wheels. First, I thought the thing that fell out from inside was a mannequin or something. It was strangely cold and a little black. But the soft feeling against my skin and the way its eyes were open told me there was no mannequin. It was... Now you call the cops. A dead body. Wah! So in this case, point P... Hey, do you know what time... Oh, Miyashiro, sit down. Hey, Miyashiro. I know, again, isn't that crazy? Even if it's just a coincidence? Quiet! I'm continuing with the lesson. Like, it's coincidence that he keeps finding dead bodies. Taku, I heard. Hey, tell me what happened yesterday. After I found the body in the alleyway this morning, I called the police. By the time they were done questioning me, it was almost lunchtime. I hadn't slept a wink last night, but I was feeling so tense that it didn't matter. The whole school had heard about how I'd found a body, and I could hear people talking about it as I passed them by. I could understand why. This was the third body I'd been the first person to discover. I don't think Watabe's really counts, because there was a gym full of people there. But hey, you were at the Love Hotel incident, wasn't that? It was the Love Hotel. It was Watabe. I don't think there was anything else. There was no other like body that we found. It was those two are definitely like, and then and it's like, you've been questioned by the police a lot. I can't remember if there was another body. I don't think there was that we found. But Watabe doesn't really count. Like, a bunch of other people were there. But when you combine it with, he's always around bodies. I mean, that does look sus. You can't there was 10 other people. There was a bunch of other people there. The whole gymnasium was filled with people when Watabe died. But it's the fact that there are 2 other bodies following us that makes everyone sus about us. So, I might have been the only person in the whole wide world to discover 3 bodies in just over a month. Unless you're a cop, yeah. At this point, the police were less surprised than they were annoyed. Just so we're clear, I wasn't out looking for it. Kurusu had come to see me too, along with Ito and Sarika. I made sure she understood the real story.
I know that, but why does this keep happening to you?
Really, it's like dead bodies just love you.
Remember what I said? It's inappropriate to say things like that when someone has just died.
Oh, sorry.
But now you're famous, Taku.
I didn't actually do anything.
And that's right, and nothing good will come of becoming famous like this.
I love how Sarah's like, but you're famous now. This is what you wanted, right?
Well, that's true, but...
So, who's the victim? And they don't know yet, supposedly. The police had said there was nothing on the body that could help them ID it. All they knew was that it was a man in his mid-40s. I see, which means it's got nothing to do with the others. Maybe. His case was the one most similar to the Return of the New Generation madness. But given the victim's age and the date of the murder, it's hard to say if it was related. It was too early to say for sure, though. So, how was it? How was what? The body, man. From what I read online, they were brutally stabbed a bunch of times. Sarika's getting angry. It was dark, so I couldn't say for sure, but when I touched it, the body felt like it had been dead for a while. You touched it, Taku? I just happened to when I tripped. Seriously? So? What did it feel like? Like rubber? It was firmer and more elastic than I thought it would be.
Come on, you two, enough. I don't want to hear it.
You could walk away, girl. If you don't want to hear it, you can just go somewhere else, right? High five, Taku.
Well...
Or maybe you actually do want to know.
Of course not.
I kept talking with Kurusu for a moment before someone came over from the door. Artemura? Yashiro, Artemura looked really tired. What brings you here? Did you come to ask about the murder, too? The murder? Oh, you don't know, Hina? Taka found another body. Huh? From the look of things, she really didn't know. Given how many friends she had, that was a little surprising. From the way the rest of the school had been talking about it, she should have at least heard something.
Artemura, what's wrong? You seem kind of down.
Well...
Is it something you don't want to talk to us about?
No, that's not it. Then what happened? Artemura still seemed like she didn't want to talk, but eventually she slowly began to speak. Actually, someone attacked me yesterday.
Attacked?
Oh, that's me. Attacked you? Seriously?
You mean they tried to kill you? Were you okay?
Everyone started to ask questions. Was it after we said goodbye yesterday? That's right. It was at Scramble Crossing.
In a place with that many people around?
The crosswalk sign turned red, and then I suddenly felt someone push me from behind. Pushed from behind. That was the same as what had happened before, which meant that it wasn't her imagination. Someone had really pushed her.
Were you hurt?
I was almost run over, but I was all right. The only injury I got was a little scrape.
Did you tell the police?
Did you tell the police? It's supposed to be Sarika, sorry. Not yet.
Why? Why didn't you tell them?
Because... She fell silent as if it was hard to say. Someone had pushed her out in the street and in a busy intersection, sorry. She was lucky to survive. She could have easily been killed. And since it had happened twice now, it was obviously an attempt on her life. But she hadn't gone to the police. Was there something she couldn't tell them about? You're easy to read too, Arimura, because we figured it out. I'm just kidding.
Anyway, you should tell the police. I'll go with you if you want.
Oh, no. Arimura? Well, actually, you want me to go with you? Before she could say something, the door to the classroom opened. Hey, why is it always you kids? Hey, McGonagall. It was Detective Shinjo. The whole classroom started to murmur at the sight of a strange man. Oh, please calm down. I'm no one suspicious. He looked around the classroom until he found us, and then walked straight over. The look on his face is like, please don't mumble. My life is so hard. Shinjo just has perma-sad face. I love this poor man. So here you are. Was there something else? No, I'm not here for Miyashiro. I'm here for you. Can you come with us? Shinjo was looking in the direction of... me? Arimura. You didn't need to come to Miyashiro. Shinjo said as soon as we entered the room. Yeah, but I'm protecting a girl. She's not my girl yet, but I'm just... Whatever. Shut up, Shinjo. But that was what Arimura had wanted. Oh, she loves us. It's so cute. She wanted me to be with her when she went with the police. Are you two... No, never mind. It doesn't matter now. Shinjo seemed like he wanted to say something when he saw the two of us, but now wasn't the time. Shinjo's like, guys. Well, whatever. You can stay. Since you were the first to find the body, you'll hear about it eventually. I'll make this quick. And Arimura, I want you to come to the police station immediately. The police station? That's right. But why? I want you to calm down before I tell you this. I had a bad premonition. You're aware that a body was found this morning in Shibuya back alley, correct? Yes, Miyashiro said... That's right. The one he found. We identified the body. It couldn't be... I'm like, it's not going to be your brother. I'm like, it's going to be your relative. It's going to be your mom or dad. The victim was Koichiro Arimura, your father. I found my future girlfriend's dead dad. That's going to put a damper on the relationship a little. Shinjo took Arimura to the police station. She didn't come back. I waited for her to get in touch with me, but not only did I not get a call, I didn't even get a text message. Of course, her father was dead and he'd been horribly murdered. I can understand why. You should have at least texted her and been like, if you want to talk, I'm here for you. When you're ready. And I had no idea that the body was Arimura's father. Of course, I had no way of knowing. So even if I could help it, I still felt ashamed of having been so excited. I'm sorry, Arimura. Forgive me. I didn't know. Arimura's dad was dead. I never met him, but he was the closest I'd been to any of the murder victims. And yesterday was the same day Arimura said she'd been attacked. What was going on? Was she the next target? Someone's out for her. Here's the thing. If the burned body that they found that they couldn't identify had been her father and this had been her mom, then it would have been like, but like this, they found her father. Okay, so where's her mom's body? And it's not like they found the burned body. They said it was a man, right? So it's not like... That almost, though, sounds like... Are you sure it wasn't Rico that did that one before you found him? Like, you know, I don't know. But we gotta find her mom soon. Or her mom's being mind controlled to do it. I don't know. But then who? I remember what Arimura had said this afternoon as she left the room with Shinjo. Anyway, that's how it is. I'm sure it's not easy, but I need to ask you some questions. And I'd like you to ID the body for me, too, if you can. Can you do that? Yes. All right. I have a car stopped out front. Please come with me. Arimura! There... Huh? Oh, there. It was my brother who did it. Arimura? My brother? I'd heard her say it clearly. Her brother was the killer. What did she mean? I'd heard that her brother died during the Shibuya earthquake. Or did she mean another brother? Or maybe he was actually alive the whole time. The more I thought, the more confused I got. Eventually, I just fell into a restless sleep. The funny thing is you know about, like, powers. So, you don't know about mind control yet. Like, you know what I mean? But you could theoretically be like, wait, maybe somebody has the ability to look like your brother or, you know, technically plant false memories or some shit. You know what I mean? You'd think, you'd be like, it has to be a gigalomaniac somehow, not, your brother's not really dead. Or they did the same thing as they did with Rico, right? She looks kind of like Senri. They found someone else to mind control that looks like your brother. 4 days had passed since her father had been murdered. There had been no new developments in the case. All we learned was that he'd been killed somewhere else and that his body had been dumped there. And it was dumped there specifically. Like, here's the thing. This is why I feel like Serica has a lot to do with this. Because, I mean, we obviously know she's shady and she's doing a lot of stuff to keep us, you know, involved and, like, whatever. But she planted the body on the path from our convenience store. And I feel like she probably went into our trailer and stole our last Mountain View, knowing damn well that we'd be like, shit, I need this. And then I would go out, you know what I mean, to go get a Mountain View at the convenience store before I went to bed and then find the body. Or she was like waiting and watching and then or like, you know, the body planted. Okay, he went out. Let's plant the body now. You know what I mean? Shinja wouldn't tell me any more than that, and neither would Kunasato. Arimura hadn't been back to school since then. Did you at least text the poor girl? I tried to contact her several times, but she never responded. Okay, at least we tried. Her father was dead. It was easy to assume that she must be depressed, but still, the words she'd said. It was my brother who did it. I couldn't get them out of my mind. What did she mean? Like, this isn't going to end well, by the way, because we're doing the bad ending, but for the last 4 days, I've been feeling kind of weird. Arimura had said she was attacked by someone at Scramble Crossing, and that was the same night I'd found her father's murdered body. Several other things had happened, too. Arimura had almost been pushed down the stairs, and a second-year student at Hekio had been killed. The student's name was Moe Ishida. She hadn't come to school often and was something of a problem child. From the photo I'd seen, she was a young girl with huge twin tails. I told you! They thought it was Arimura. Why had she been killed? And what did it have to do with the return of the new generation madness? He said twin tails. I mean, was she blonde, pigtailed girl? Because she looked like Arimura from the back, and that's why they stabbed her. There was also that headless body that was burned to death. They still didn't know who it belonged to. I didn't know if it had anything to do with the other murders, but it still felt like something awful was creeping up on us. Unless that was a woman and they thought that, you know what I mean? I thought they said it was a man, but... I looked at my phone. Still no word from Arimura. Maybe I'll call her again. Just as I started to pull her number out of my call history, there was a loud knock at the door. There was not a knock at the door. Because I turned the sound effects up and there was no knock. What's going on? It was almost 11 at night. Who could be coming here at this hour? Was it my turn next? No. Go away! Go away! Go away! Go away! There had to be some way. Was there some way to fight back? Right. My power. I had my power. It's fucking Arimura. It was no good. Damn it. She told me not to use it, and so I hadn't. But if I'd known this was going to happen, I would have practiced. The knocking at the door grew even louder. See? Now I heard a voice. Please? Huh? That voice. Arimura? Told you it was her. Come on. He's like, just as I was about to call her, she shows up at our door. That's how it works. I quickly went to the door and looked outside and saw Arimura frantically pounding on the door with tears in her eyes. I quickly opened it and let her in. Miyashiro! Something was wrong with her. She grabbed me, shaking. Pat her head. What's wrong, Arimura? They're chasing me. Chasing you? You mean you were attacked again? She nodded again and again. But who? My brother? It really was your brother? It was, I'm sure of it. After I'd given her something to drink to calm her down and heard what she had to say, she told me that it was him for sure. Her family's condo had been destroyed in the Shibuya earthquake, so now they lived in Kanagawa. Her father's autopsy had only been completed yesterday, and then she'd gone back there. The funeral was today, and afterwards she'd come back to Shibuya with her aunt and uncle. The police had asked her to come back down to the station one more time, where they'd questioned her about her father's relationships. On the way back home, she'd felt someone watching her. And when she'd gotten near a construction site, some of the building materials had gotten loose and fallen down on top of her. She'd been watching her surroundings carefully after all that had happened and just barely seen them in time to duck out of the way. But when she'd looked up, she'd seen him. It was her brother, Shingo Arimura. So I'm sure he was the one who killed Dad, too. But he died, right? In the earthquake? That's what she'd said. But he's alive. He's alive and trying to get revenge. But he looks exactly the way he did, so he looks like a ghost. Revenge? Why would he want revenge on you? Because he died because of me? Rimura had been out during the earthquake, she said. Her brother hadn't realized that she was gone and had entered the condo building to save her, only to die when it collapsed. Oh. I could tell Rimura blamed herself for that. But that doesn't make sense. Why? Then why would he kill your dad? Because Dad betrayed his family? Rimura didn't tell me how he betrayed his family, so I didn't know what had happened. But that didn't change the fact that what she was saying didn't make sense. Even if he's alive, why does he need to get revenge? That's because... Right? If he survived, he doesn't need revenge. And you said he really loved you, right? So why would he start hating you? But I saw him. That was my brother. Brother, why? No matter how much I tried to persuade her otherwise, Arimura kept insisting that what she had seen was her brother. Again, this is where you should be smart enough to be like, okay, you saw your brother. What if it wasn't actually your brother, but it was another gigalomaniac somehow making you think it was like they were in disguise, or they can shapeshift, so they're trying to torment you, making you think your brother wants to kill you. What if it's not really your brother, but they're making you think it is? That would be the logical, because then you're like, okay, now she's gonna stop thinking it's her brother, and she's not gonna be so stressed out about that. And then we find out, you know what I mean? Give her other possibilities instead of being like, you're crazy. It's not your brother. Your brother's dead. It's not your brother. Like, help her get off that, Was it really him that she saw? Even if it was someone who looked just like her brother, that didn't explain why they were attacking her, right? Let alone why they'd kill her father. Oh, that's right. I need to apologize to you. Apologize? Why? I didn't know. I didn't know that it was your dad, but I still got so... Oh. So I'm sorry. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. Felt like she wasn't just trying to make me feel better. She really meant it. And what's more, I don't really know if I'm sad that he died or not. Rimura, it's so strange. I just don't know. Dad lied to us for years. I don't think I ever forgave him. So part of me thinks that he got what he deserved. Look, he was cheating on your mom was cheating on him, they were cheating on each other, and while it sucks for you, they still kept the happy family going. Like, we love each other, but we're not, like, in love with each other, but let's stay married and have an open relationship. And you don't know what the agreement was between them. And the thing is like, at a certain point, your kids get old enough where you're like, we have an open relationship. It's nobody else's business, but that's the way it is. And do you ever feel unloved? You never felt unloved. You just realized that your family isn't perfect, and at too young of an age, unfortunately. But now you're like pissed because my parents didn't tell me. It's none of your fucking business when you're like 6 to 10 years old what your parents fucking do in their bedroom or in other people's bedrooms. That ain't any of your fucking business. You know what I mean? There is shit that, like, and it's weird because people seem to think that, like, oh my God, my parents have to... No, your parents have a duty to tell you certain things like, "Oh, yeah, cancer runs in our family, so you should probably like keep an eye on that shit." You know what I mean? "Oh, yeah, no, your dad had heart disease, so it's a, runs in the like, you know what I mean? Genetic abnormalities in your body like but their sexual proclivities are none of your fucking business. I'm sorry. Maybe that's just me, but I don't want to know. Really? Oh, hi, sweetie, sit down. I know you're only 8, but your dad and I are into BDSM. Fucking gross. I still don't want to know as an adult if my parents are into that. Weird. Keep it to yourself. You know? So I understand. Unfortunately, she found out young, and so it shaped her thought process about it. But the thing is, and I understand the like, oh my God, my parents were lying. But did you ever feel unloved by your parents? No. You've admitted like they were cheating. Your dad not being your dad is a huge thing, but like, how do you? Eventually, that would have come out, and you would have felt weird about it. But she's pissed about her parents cheating, but they were both cheating on each other. And again, maybe they had that discussion, maybe they didn't. But your dad came home happy and treated you and your family like you thought you had this happy, wonderful family. It's not like, well, my dad was cheating on my mom and he's an abusive prick. And okay, well, then be pissed. But you had a happy childhood. You had a happy life. You didn't know your mom and dad were boinking people on the side, you know? So, I don't know. I just feel like you're getting pissed off about something that you take as an affront to you as a child because they didn't tell you, but you were a child. Even now in high school, it's really not your business what your parents do behind closed doors. Maybe you have an open relationship like that, but most of the time, it's not your fucking business. You know? There's going to come a point where you're smart enough to know your parents have an open relationship and maybe, like, whatever, but stop it! Shut it! Not listening to you. Anyway. I don't think he got what he deserved because he was cheating on your mom. I mean, I understand you being pissed, but again, mom was also cheating on your dad. So, like, of course, I don't think he had to die like that. Since he... Oh, she didn't tell me. I had no way of knowing what lie her dad had told. Oh, since she didn't tell me. But I can imagine that whatever it was, it left a big impression on her. If nothing else, it was enough to affect her power as a gigglomaniac. I mean, again, I understand you being kind of pissed that your parents are cheating on each other. Like, what the fuck? And, like, hating all the lies. Because there was a lot of lies, so I get that. But, kind of like, I mean... I don't think that... I can understand her being pissed. I'm still mad at him. I don't know if I forgave him for it. Okay. Legit. But maybe he deserved to die. You're an asshole if you're cheating on your spouse, but I don't think you necessarily deserve to die. Maybe you don't deserve your kid's forgiveness, but, I mean... I went outside and stretched, and I could feel all the bones in my body popping. It was still just past 8. Even at this hour, I could hear people playing basketball at the nearby court. Eddie Murray had ended up sleeping in my bed. After all that had happened, she was mentally exhausted. Even for me, it didn't feel right to wake her up and send her home. And she'd just been through such a scare. I decided to let her sleep. And so I ended up trying to sleep on the tiny, hard floor and mostly failing. I decided to go wash my face at the nearby fountain when the phone in my pocket began to vibrate. You have a sink! You know what I mean? And a bathroom. A phone call? It was from Kunasato. Why are you calling this early? Did you learn something? That's a rather rude greeting. I would have reacted the same way to anybody else calling at this hour. I was planning to tell you the police take on the recent murders since Shinjo had given it to me, but if you don't need it, never mind. No, wait! I didn't say I didn't need it. I could tell that she wasn't joking. She was really about to hang up the phone. I quickly tried to stop her. Please tell me what you've learned. Please? Well, all right. Let's start with these murders modeled after the New Generation case. She meant the first 4 murders up until Watabe's death. They seem to think that there are several things that can't be explained if it was just Riko Haida acting on her own. In other words, she had someone working with her. Or perhaps she was only responsible for the arson cases and had nothing to do with the murders. True. If that was true, it would mean that there weren't multiple people involved. It would mean there were multiple people involved, and the real killer hadn't been caught. Also true. Or maybe whatever organization had built that lab in the basement was responsible. Possible. which meant that Arimura and I couldn't feel safe. No, Arimura had already said she'd been attacked. But also, you should know that you two are suspects. Huh? You don't mean me and Arimura, do you? Didn't you hear me? I said you two. Who else could it be? Why would they suspect us? Kikita, Watabe, and now this third case. The police are thinking it's too much to be a coincidence. I thought we weren't considered suspect for the murders that had happened so far. For those murders, yes, but the other ones are a different matter. Ah, this is definitely Serica's doing. Mm-hmm. Because it's gonna turn out because they're gonna do the same thing. We are suspects and then blah, 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 and then we're gonna prove them wrong. We really had nothing to do with it. It wasn't either one of us, and then we'll be exactly the same scenario as why she was setting up the New Generation Madness cases. And then it was going to be, we were going to be accused of it, and then it was going to come out that it was actually our dad. Like, exactly what, was supposed to happen, right? She did all that for us. So now things have changed. Now we're with Artemura, whatever, and we're hanging out with her more, and then it's like, So she's changed of plans. She's changing this shit on the fly. So instead of continuing the New Generation Madness, because we're like, whatever, we let it go, instead of continuing that, now she's like, fucking Artemura. Maybe she's trying to kill Artemura. But maybe then she's going to try to make it look like we did that, and we killed her family for her, and whatever, and then same thing's going to happen. We're going to get arrested for the murders, and then it's going to come out that it wasn't really us, and vindicated, and the same scenario, just played out slightly differently. Because now we're changing the rules on her, right? So she's going to still play the same game, but with this new set of rules that she's been dealt. So interesting. You know the victim from the other day? The one from Hekio? Moe Ishida. I heard she didn't come to school often. That's right, but the girl was supposedly a big fan of Hanai Arimura. Of Arimura? According to Kunisada, who was getting her information from Shinjo, of course, Moe Ishida had been a very quiet student in middle school who didn't really stand out. At school, she would mostly sit in a corner and read books. Arimura's name had shown up in her diary. Arimura was always cheerful and friends with everybody. Arimura had spoken to Moe, too. Okay, and Serica can read minds and knew it. So she got killed not because she looked like Artemura, but because she was writing about Artemura, and then it is like, oh, Artemura's name's in her diary, and it makes her look sus. Okay, so I see what's happening here. And then it evidently made her very happy. After that, Moe had decided that she wanted to be like Artemura. She copied Artemura's hairstyle and started going downtown, where eventually she fell in with a bad crowd and stopped coming to school. But that's not Artemura's fault. A detective's job is to look for connections, no matter how small they might be. And part of the reason is Artemura's actions as well. Artemura's actions? During questioning yesterday, she said that her brother is alive and trying to kill her. She told me the same thing. And they seem to think that's evidence of mental instability, and that it may have some bearing on the case. And that's why we're making her think it's her brother trying to kill her, because, then she sounds crazy, and then they think it's her, and then we worked with her, and I see what's happening. You see what's happening. Of course she is. After all that's happened, of course she's going to feel on edge. Several of the victims had already been related to her. Of course the police had noticed that, too. So, what's your take on Hanai Artemura? She looks like she's really stressed out. I see. Well, keep an eye on her. What's wrong? Are you really Kunisado? What do you mean? I mean, I can't believe the real Kunisada would honestly be worried about us. You're lucky we're on the phone, otherwise I'd beat the shit out of you. It really was Kunisado. Anyway, keep a close eye on Hanai Artemura's activities. There's no telling what someone will do when they panic. That was all Kunisado said before she hung up. It's like she's she could have done it. I don't know. She has no faith in Artemura. Oh. Hironori Kikita, Moe Ishida, and Artemura's dad. In the sense that she was the first to find the body, there was also Watabe. It was true that too many of the victims were related to Artemura. Maybe it was natural for the police to suspect her. Miyashiro? We best not start suspecting her. This is our girl. Oh. She must have woken up. Artemir smiled in relief and ran over to me. You weren't there when I woke up, so I wondered where you'd gone. Artemir still didn't look great, but she seemed to have calmed down since yesterday. I'm sorry, I fell asleep somehow. No, it's fine, just what are you going to do now? I'm going home. My aunt and uncle are probably worried about me. You see, I'll walk you part of the way. Even if she calmed down, I didn't feel safe sending her back alone. She must have felt the same way because she just nodded. Anyway, I hate Sundays. There's so many people around. Yeah. Hey, did you know a while ago, Ito... I tried to keep up as much meaningless small talk as I could while we headed toward Arimura's home. Even with all the murders, it was still the weekend, and there was only a week to go until the festival. The whole town was in a state of excitement. It was a good thing for us. Artemir was gradually starting to smile again, in fact. Oh no, that's true. Watabe died at the school festival. I was thinking the school festival. No, this is the restoration festival. Okay, I still think that was going to be when everything goes down and like, because that's what happened in the original path, you know? Did Ito really do that? Sometimes I don't know about that guy. Okay, Miyashiro, I can go the rest of the way on my... Suddenly, Artemura froze. Brother? Huh? I quickly spun around, but I didn't see anyone. Artemura? No, brother! Calm down, Artemura. He's not there. I grabbed her by the shoulders and I could feel that she was shaking. They're using our dad to put him into her mind, probably. But he's right there. She was pointing at a mannequin in a store window. There was nothing else there. Let's just go home. I'll walk you all the way. November 2nd, 2015, Monday. We jumped fast. The next day... Oh, no, we didn't. Were we already... Oh. The next day, Artemir came to school and... Ciao, Sari, guys. She was back to normal. Morning.
Oh, good morning.
Hey. Hi. I'm glad to see you guys are getting along so well. Maybe I'll quit the lit club and join the newspaper club.
What are you talking about? You're basically a member already, right, Taku?
Yeah, you're right. Really? All right, maybe I will join. Wait, are you allowed to be in 2 clubs?
Of course, just fill out the paperwork and it's fine.
I see. Well, if you do join, that gives us an excuse to be... That gives you an excuse to be with Miyashiro. What? We're not really...
Oh, come on, no blushing.
No blushing. You don't get to say that. I hadn't seen Artemura this chipper in a while. Felt a little forced, sure, but it was still a good sign. Oh, right. Did you hear they're adding a chocolate bar to Hikario?
Huh? A chocolate bar? You mean the one where if you get a winning bar, you get another one?
No, that's a Choco Bats. Choco Bats. Fictional. A chocolate-covered bat-shaped stick of fried dough that's been loved in Japan for 50 years. Chocolate-covered bat-shaped stick of fried dough. That sounds fucking delicious. Not only is it cheap, there's a removable sticker on the back. If your sticker says hit or home run, you get another one free. Oh, bat shape. Okay, I'm thinking like... I'm in the Halloween festivity spirit, even though, well, for you it might actually be October at this point. It is not October, but I'm like already getting ready for like, woo, all the fun things I can wear in October, like spooky, like with my bats and pumpkins and shit, like clothes and stuff like that. I have a Halloween theme. I have a October themed wardrobe. Not even gonna lie. And I was thinking like a bat, like a spooky bat, not like a baseball bat. I was like, it's a bat-shaped stick, and I'm like, how is it a bat-shaped stick? I'm thinking like bat, like an animal bat shape, and I'm like, stick. It doesn't really work, but like whatever. I want bat-shaped, and I was like, well, look, I'm just saying it's Japan, so they could absolutely make fried dough that's shaped like an actual animal bat that's dipped in chocolate, and it would look fucking amazing as shit, and you wouldn't want to eat it. So anyway, I want one of those.
A chocolate bar is like a restaurant, right? Where you can eat in?
Yeah, that's the thing. Once it opens, we can all... And then she stopped. I had a bad feeling. Hina? No. She froze. No! Arimura! I quickly grabbed her before she could fall over. Hey, what's wrong?
She passed out. Take her to the nurse's office right now.
Yeah. As I picked her up, I glanced in the direction she'd been looking. Hey, what happened? Kawahara was standing there. He'd happened to be passing by and was looking at us in surprise. She thought he was her brother. Yep. I don't know. Kawahara, you could pull his bangs down and it could... There was no one else around. She saw you and got spooked, you asshole. Anyway, Taku, what did they say about Hina? She's just a little tired, they said. They're gonna let her rest for a while. I see. So curious. I knew what had happened. She'd seen him again. Maybe she'd mistaken Kawahara for a brother.
Takuru, did something happen with Arimura?
What do you mean?
She was acting a little strange, I think. Yeah, I thought so too. She felt more forced than she usually does.
Seriously? I had no idea. Was it okay to tell them? Even Kazuki had stopped playing ESO2 and come over to me with a look of concern on her face. I would tell them out of concern. You know what I mean? I'd be like, what is it, Kazuki? Are you worried too? All right. I told them all everything that had happened to Arimura over the past few days. That she said her brother was still alive, that he was trying to get revenge on her. Hey. It was Sarika who spoke first. Is Hina's brother really alive? No.
No, I heard he was dead.
But she thinks he is, right? I don't know. But what I do know is that these murders keep happening around her. If there were dead bodies, that means somebody had killed them.
I think that maybe we should look into her brother some more.
But how?
He died in the earthquake, right? That means...
Look, his name's on the memorial. That means nothing. It means they think you died. I went with Karusu's suggestion and visited the earthquake memorial with Sarika. The memorial bore the names of everyone who died in the quake. I was worried about Arimura, but Karusu said she'd take her home. It was probably safe to let her handle it. Well, Taku? Wait a second. I'm pretty sure... His name was supposedly Shingo Arimura. Looking at the memorial, I was reminded of how many people had died during the earthquake. My parents, Sarika's parents, and Karusu and Yui's parents all had their names here, too. Arimura. Oh! Did you find it? Yeah, it's right here. Shingo Arimura. From the age when he died, it was safe to assume that this was him. But this didn't mean anything for sure, right? The damage from the Shibuya earthquake had been incredible. Some people had been declared dead without their bodies ever being found. And in some cases, these people had later been found committing crimes. So to be sure, Oh, you're here already? Sorry to keep you waiting. Sorry for having you come out here so quickly. I contacted Shinjo and had him meet me here. No, it's better for me to know as much as possible about the case, even if it's something small. Lately, I've been starting to think that Detective Shinjo might be a lot better at his job than he looked. This poor... Of course, maybe people like him never really fit in an organization and couldn't grow to their full potential. So, you wanted to ask about Hanai Artemur's brother, right? Yes. I'll make it quick. Our brother Shingo is dead. You're sure? We're sure. He died when his family's condo building collapsed during the Shibuya earthquake. The body was identified by a family member. Did Hina, see his body? I can't tell you if she herself saw the body, but I can tell you for sure that he's dead. I see. So he wasn't just declared dead when they couldn't find his body then. I have a photo too. Want to take a look? I looked at it just in case, but I was surprised to find that he didn't really look like Arimura. I'd never seen him before. So when Hina says her brother's alive, I guess it's just her imagination after all. Or perhaps... Well, with all that's going on around her and what happened with her dad, I can understand if she's in pretty bad shape. Her mom's not doing so well either. I see. You're her friends. Keep an eye on her. Shinjo seemed to think he might gain some clue by hearing what we had to say about Arnemura, but he ended up going back to the station with barely anything to show for it. I feel like this is the point where he or us or someone should have been like, do you think that it's possible a Gigalomaniac, whoever's involved with the original cases, is targeting her for some reason and making her think it's her brother when it's really not? Like, I don't know why. I understand if, say, we hadn't thought and knew anything about Gigalomaniacs, we knew nothing about our powers, anything like that, we wouldn't have thought of that. But at this point, that's a logical fucking assumption. You know what I mean? Oh my god, hold on. Stupid, annoying fucking spam calls. He didn't tell us anything about the police considering her as a suspect. By the time I got home that day, the sun had set. I'd stopped to buy some Mountain View at the convenience store like always. When I opened the door, bag in hand, I realized that something was wrong. Someone's in here? I could sense someone in the back of the dark room. Could it be that I was next? Who's there? I was sure of it. Someone was there. I know you're there. Come on out. I tried to yell loudly to make myself feel stronger, but it didn't work. A figure slowly stood up in the darkness. It's fucking Arimura. And the next moment it charged at me. It was so sudden I couldn't move. No, there was no time to get away. Yes, Arimura? I told you it was her. It's always this girl. Like, dude, your girlfriend's always in your damn house and she's always scaring the shit out of you. She is going to be the death of us just because she keeps scaring us to death. Arimura leapt into my arms. Why? Caruso had said she'd taken her home. Am I not allowed to be here? I'm too scared to be anywhere else. Scared, but won't your aunt and uncle worry? It's fine. They want to be rid of me anyway. Is that something she knew? So please let me stay here. But is that okay? There were tears in her eyes. How do you say no? For the old Artemura, that might have been an act. But now... fine. Really? This wasn't an act. Oh, right. Come inside, quick. Huh? You don't have to rush me. I know. Are you sure nobody followed you here? I don't think so. I see. But be careful, okay? Oh, also, do you have anything to put up, like duct tape or something? Duct tape? For what? We're gonna put it on the windows and cracks so my brother can't get in. What are you talking about? He can't come in through... At first I thought she was joking and laughed. But then I saw that she was serious. You see? There's a little gap there. And over there, too. If we don't tape up the gaps, he'll get in somehow. Artemura, she told me before that her brother was alive and bent on revenge. But now I realize that it didn't matter whether he was alive or not. Her brother was after her. That was all that mattered. We are such a good boyfriend. I know we're not really your boyfriend. We kind of are, but like, whatever. I guess we're a good friend, but we're also a good boyfriend. So, like, because we're like, he's dead. We know he's dead. But we're not like, oh my God, he's dead. Stop it. Oh my God, trying to convince her. We're like, doesn't matter if he's dead and we know he's dead and we know he's not out to get her. She feels like he is, and that's what matters. Is like, whatever she's going through, whether someone's putting that thought into her head, which we have not figured that out yet, which is just, we're dumb, but, or she's just having a nervous breakdown because of everything that happened and this is how it's it's fine. We need to protect her and just help her through this. You know what I mean? We're being very supportive. So that's lovely. Fine. We can do that tomorrow. It's too late tonight. She was still scared, but I managed to calm her down enough that she dropped the subject. But even as it got later, all she did was look outside and shiver. Morning came without either of us getting much sleep. Like, sit here. We'll sit on the bed. Just sit there and it's okay. I'll stay awake if you want to fall asleep and I'll keep an eye out. Oh, I missed. This is November 3rd, Tuesday. Whatever, it's fine. You saw it. Maybe you didn't. Anyway. Sleeping. I met the morning with the sound of chirping sparrows and the quiet snoring of a girl. I'd always thought that if ever happened to me, it'd be wonderful. Who could have imagined it would feel like this? She'd only just fallen asleep and it was already 10 a.m. I was worried about leaving her here by herself, but there was something I wanted to check.
Your girl's already here.
What?
It's a different girl than last time. For someone with such a stupid face, you do pretty well for yourself.
I don't... No, that didn't matter. There was no harm in letting her have the wrong idea. I needed to do what I'd come here for first. Just like the waitress had said, the person I was here to meet had already arrived. She was reading something and frowning, like always. You're late, considering it was you who asked me to come here. She looked up from her book and spoke to me curtly. I'm sorry. So, what did you want to ask me about? I sat down and ordered, and she got straight to the point. It was clear she didn't want to waste any time on small talk. You're supposed to know a lot about the brain and the mind, right, Kunasato? I don't supposedly know anything. My research specialty is brain science. Then I'd like your opinion as a specialist. Artimura's actions over the past few days had gone well beyond what anyone would consider normal. No matter how much I tried to convince her that her brother was dead, she refused to believe. No, it felt like she didn't even want to believe. Artimura was the only one who had seen her brother to begin with. None of us had seen him. Which meant that maybe it was all in her head, after all. But then what was the cause? I could have looked it up on the internet, but not with Artimura in the room. And it was better to ask a specialist than just try to figure it out based off some web pages. And the biggest factor is probably psychological stress. Kunasato furrowed her brow when I finished talking to her. But is that enough to get her so scared? I haven't spoken to her personally, so this is just one possibility. But it could be a type of obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, also called OCD, the inability to stop from repeatedly thinking certain thoughts or performing certain actions. Sometimes symptoms can be as harmless or just harmless, like an inability to stop thinking about whether you locked the door after you left. But severe cases can leave sufferers unable to live normal lives. The causes are thought to lie in a person's personality or external stress, but the exact cause is unknown. Who the fuck doesn't all of a sudden do that? Like, did I lock the door? I don't remember if you don't remember doing it. I do shit like that all the time. Did I do this? I check my door every night. Yep, it's okay. Doors are locked, whatever. I go and I stop and I go, do I remember doing that? Did I do it? And I walk by, and I have to sit there and I look at the locks. It is closed. I can see the locks in the lock. The door is locked. Because otherwise I'll be like, I know I went and checked the door, but did I check it? Did I just go to the door? Did I actually see the locks locked? Am I imagining that I did? I'm just crazy, but I feel like everybody does shit like that. Like, maybe not as weirdly as that, but it's like, did I lock the door when I left? Did I close my garage door? Did I turn the oven on? Like, we all have those moments. Because people are idiots and we do stupid shit, so. You're like constantly thinking, did I do something stupid? Like, OCD. You should know that criminal psychology isn't my specialty, but she warned me before she continued. It's rare, but sometimes people who've murdered someone become terrified of that person's ghost. Ghost? That would be Artimura's brother in this case. Artimura felt so guilty over her brother's death that she was hallucinating that she was seeing him. That was fine. Well, no, it wasn't fine, but it was fixable. But there was another possibility that I was afraid of. The idea that had suddenly come to me last night. If I said it aloud, if I gave it shape, something might change. And in a bad way. And then, for example, despite my premonition, I couldn't keep myself from saying it. They could take revenge for someone who died without even realizing it. Is that possible? Kunasato must have understood exactly what I meant. She put down her coffee cup and looked at me. You're not telling me you think Artimura killed her father in her brother's place, are you? I'm just asking if it's possible. It's not impossible. I see. Don't start doubting her. I'd been feeling that way ever since I'd seen her last night. She'd said that her brother had died because of her, but she also said that it was her mom and dad's fault. Perhaps Artimura blamed herself for her brother's death so much that she started hallucinating visions of him, or that's the bad ending. Like, I understand that we're trying to find all possible solutions, and sometimes even if you love someone and have faith that they didn't do something, you can't deny that there are things and facts in front of you that say that they did. And you're like, I don't want to believe that you did these things, but there are facts that say you did, and I have no idea whether to believe my instinct or my feeling, because are my instincts just saying that you're innocent because you're important to me, or because it's the truth, even when there's these facts here. Like, you know what I mean? And it's okay to be like, I don't know what's true here. I don't know. I can't process this information and make a, like, you know what I mean? Especially when your feelings for a person are involved. When it's just black and white and you're like, I don't know this person, here's this and this. Sometimes it's easier to be like, nope, I believe A over B or B over A. But when that person is involved and your emotions come into play, it's harder. You know what I mean? To like judge what's going on. What you doing, douchebags? Nah, Mr. Neelix isn't a douchebag. You're kind of a douchebag, little douchebag. What you doing, little jerkbird? You being nice? Whatever. You know what I mean? So I can understand him kind of like trying to figure out what's going on with her, but it's also like, be careful, man. Be careful. Maybe that started to escalate until unconsciously she thought she was her brother, and then she killed her father. Of course, she said she'd been attacked too. In that case, she would be lying, but when the thought had first come to me, it had seemed impossible. I tried to tell myself that I was overthinking things. But once a thought came to you, it was impossible to be rid of it. The more you told yourself not to think about it, the more you started to think that maybe it was true. What was the truth, and what was a lie? I'm the one who wants to know. Perfect place to end it. Right here with Arimura. And what are we going to do? Oh my god. I just have a feeling because it's possible that leading to a bad end, the bad end is going to be us being like, yeah, are you sure you didn't kill your brother? And she's like, what? And she goes running off and we're like, fuck. You know what I mean? And that's the bad thing. Even though the good ending kind of follows up from the bad ending, so it sounds like the good ending isn't really a good ending either way. It's more bad than the bad ending. So, I don't know. Anyway, but we'll see. Maybe we'll hit that bad ending in the next part. That's kind of what I was originally thinking based on it took someone 4 hours to play it. Like there's a video out there somewhere. And I just saw it was like a 4-hour video. And I was like, okay, we talk through things. It's been like 4 hours, not counting the 3 hours we skipped and a little bit of that half. So, we speculate. I talk through things. So I would think we'd be possibly getting that bad ending in the next part. So I don't know. I think we're at 4 hours now. Plus like about 15 minutes or so in that one part, which I'm not counting. So, anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.